Bashos. Yeah. This is part 8, the introduction, the narrow road to the deep north. In the spring of 1694, Basho left on the last of his major journeys. This time he was determined to travel, if possible, to the south end of Japan. He was already 50, however, and his health was failing. His poems he wrote on this journey suggest something almost like a shadow of death. For example, autumn drawing near, my heart of itself inclines to a cozy room of 4.5 mats. My feet against a cold plastered wall. I took a midday nap late in the summer. Ancient city of Nara, ancient images of Buddha shrouded in the scent of chrysanthemums. Deep is autumn, and in its deep air I somehow wondered who my neighbor is. While Basho was lingering in Osaka and its vicinity, he fell a victim to what seems to have been an attack of dysentery. Here is a vivid description of his condition 4 days before his death by one of his disciples. On the night of October 8th, though it was almost midnight, Don Shu was summoned to our master's bedside. When I heard the clatter of an ink bar rubbing against the slab, I wondered what manner of letter it was, but it turned out to be a poem. It was entitled Sick in Bed. Seized with disease, halfway on the road, my dreams keep revolving round the withered moor. Later I was summoned by our master, who told me that he had in mind another poem which ended like this: round as yet round, my dreams keep revolving. He asked me which one I preferred. I wanted to know what preceded these lines, of course, but thinking that my question would merely give him discomfort, and I said I preferred the first one. Now it is a matter of deep regret that I did not put the question to him, for there is no way of knowing what a beautiful poem the second was. Thus died on October 12, 1693, one of the greatest geniuses in Japanese literature, and 5 years after his death, the last of his...
October 12,
1694.
Oh, 16. You said 19.
Whatever.
Not whatever.
Ah, okay. I can't read. After his death, the last of his anthologies, A Coat for a Monkey, Continued, was published, being the collection of the poems he wrote in the last few years. Fortunately, however, his works survived him, and through them we can enter into the inner depths of this great man. His travel sketches, in particular, show him at his best, or on his way to his best, for they are, as I have already pointed out, the products of his ripest years. Now the reader is invited to read them in an English translation.
Do you have this one?
I don't know. I'm just reading what I have.
Maybe we should find the book.
We'll get some more Basho.
His last book.
We'll get them, probably. Sure, we can find anything. Google will find it for us. They should do something. One final comment on the technique of translation. I have used 4-line stanza in translating haiku, just as I did in my former translation, The Year of My Life. translation of Isha Uraharu. I shall not, of course, try to defend my stanza, for it is an experiment, and just as any other experiment in literature. He's talking about his translation. You want me to read it? Oh, it's almost over. I should keep going. Let me, however, state here at least 3 reasons for my choice. First, the language haiku, as I have already pointed out, is based on colloquialism, and in my opinion, the closest approximation of natural conversational rhythm can be achieved in English by a 4-line stanza rather than by a constrained 3-line stanza. Even second, even in the lifetime of Basho, haiku, starting piece of a linked verse, was given a special place in the series and treated half independently, and in my opinion, a 3-line stanza does not carry adequate dignity and weight to compare with haiku. Finally, I have before me the task of translating a great number of poems mixed with prose, and I found it impossible to use 3-line form consistently. In any case, this translation is primarily intended for lovers of poetry, and only secondarily for scholars whose minds should be broad enough to recognize the use in a translation like this. The present translation is not for those purists who exist without believing either in its validity or possibility. I presume that haiku should be translated with the original 17 syllable scheme, or at least into 3 lines. The illustrations in the text are by Busan, who is counted not only among the 3 best haiku poets of Japan, but also among the outstanding painters of his day. By way of concluding my introduction, let me quote the inscription and poem from the portrait of Basho by Busan. Neither speak ill of others, nor well of yourself. The moment you open your mouth to speak, the autumn wind stirs and chills your lips. Bushan, the poem he wrote is, neither speak ill of others, nor well of yourself. The moment you open your mouth to speak, the autumn wind stirs and chills your lips. You should read Bushan. He's also a painter and a poet. End of introduction. That's the end. I think it was part 8 of the introduction to Basho's Narrow Road to the Deep North and Other Travel Sketches. Very good. Oh. There's the author. Oh.
Let me see.
What?
You have a photo.
No, the author. I don't have a photo of the author. You have any discussion? You want to read Busan or get some other poets or get more Basho?
Yeah, the last ones, the last years.
What?
The poetry of the last years. Go to a monkey.
Which part? You like the late period poetry? Or the? What about the artists? There's a number of artists who write poetry. Japanese artists. Yeah, I've seen them where they make art and then write a poem with it. I went to the Japan Society once and saw an exhibition. Well, we should go. We should go sometime to Japan Society. We actually can read from the other book too. I still have the moon appeared 9 times or something. That's the grand conclusion to. No, it's not. It's the introduction is done for Basho in the book. That book, at least, really.